So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Fort St. John so you understand where I'm coming from. Fort St. John is one of four cities in Canada north of the 56th parallel. Yellowknife, Whitehorse, and Fort McMurray. You may have heard of that place, and Fort St. John. We are on the Alaska Highway, and that really was a tremendous collaborative project between the two nations to have that highway built, and it really is the artery for this industry for us in Northeast British Columbia. We're very proud to have some Olympic speed skaters from Fort St. John, and we have a very thriving community. And a lot of that has been as a result of a very strong small and medium-sized enterprise base that we have as a result of this industry. Between my husband and I, we have 6 children. 4 of them live in Fort St. John, not at my house. They are gainfully employed in the industry and own their own homes, which is wonderful to have that opportunity to have your children employed and your grandchildren close. Our 10th grandchild will be coming in April. We're pretty excited about that. So we're here to talk about the opportunities and the challenges regarding energy infrastructure. And I'm always the type of person that seeks solutions and opportunities. So I'm just going to begin with the opportunities, with why we need to build new infrastructure. The reality is we need new markets for our commodity. When we look at Canada, we are a resource nation. And I've always said, when your mom or dad opened up their wallet to give you your allowance, if that was a Canadian dollar in there, then if you followed the life of that dollar, it usually came from a resource industry. And that's just the reality of it. We have wonderful opportunities to take that dollar and turn it into so much more, but it usually came from a resource industry. We need the revenue to support our health and to support our education services. Job creation. I mentioned that Fort St. John is very strong. BMO constantly addresses us as one of the hot spots for entrepreneurship. And I can tell you that our strong businesses built not only our strong community, but they also are the driver for innovation. And as the former executive director for the Science and Technology and Innovation Council for Northeast British Columbia, I can tell you that there are a lot of innovations coming off of the workbench. I have a young fellow, I can say he's young. He's built a new pile driver that's being used in California to build a solar farm. They're using his innovation because he has cut their footprint by 50%. This is an innovation that has come as a result of him working in the field and seeing how things can be done better. That's creating intellectual property, that creates wealth, that drives the knowledge economy, and we're exporting that knowledge from a small city in northern Canada. I also have an innovator in Fort St. John who's created a new pump that works off of the pressure within the natural gas line, combined with some solar, to inject the chemicals into the pipeline to maintain the integrity of the pipeline. It is so vital that these things come forward, and it's vital that we have strong businesses as a result of them. And I could go on about the economics of the proposed projects, but we have others here that are going to address some of that. So my interest really is twofold. I want to have a strong community so that my children can continue to live beside me. And energy literacy. It's a huge opportunity. It must be undertaken. And there's a lot of people who just don't understand the industry. Because we've been working, nose to the ground, hard-working people out in the field who's now questioning where are their jobs going to go to if we aren't able to stand up and say we're a safe industry. Understand our industry. We don't have magical ceilings and magical walls. Our energy and our heat come from somewhere. I can tell you from a community perspective that the moment the energy shuts off, the moment you no longer have light or your furnace is not working, the phone calls start. But they don't understand where it comes from. I have said before that the buildings are not made out of pixie dust. We need to educate people on energy. We have wind turbines in Northeast British Columbia. Fabulous structures. I've visited them. They are not made out of bamboo. We need to educate people on this kind of stuff. My husband was just in Ontario training for the Justice Institute, and the firefighters there were telling him with the solar panels on the roofs of the houses producing power, that impacts how firefighters can address a fire in that building. We never thought about that before. So we really need to take a look at energy in general. So some of the challenges that I see that we face, first and foremost, absolutely, is communications. Someone else owns this, and they're having a heyday with it. So how are we going to get out of a room like this, where we're kind of preaching to the choir, and go and meet, go toe-to-toe, have these conversations, sit down and have a cup of tea, and educate those who don't understand the industry? So in the past, approvals have normally come from the province or the federal government or the state government. And although that seems to be the same official approval, I would suggest that there's a cultural shift. Social license means you have to get approval from the communities. And I'm not talking about my incorporated community, although the people within it certainly have an opinion, but I'm talking about the communities. First Nation communities, Northeast communities, just communities in general. When we look at the northern communities in British Columbia and the proposed pipelines going across, these are people who do not understand this industry. They don't understand the pipeline. I've had conversations with them. They don't want pipelines because they don't want fracking. And I say, hon, they're not going to frack along the pipeline. That's not how it works. But they don't understand. So we need to take the opportunity to educate them. You need to understand that some of these small communities that are just under 5,000 in population, as soon as you go over 5,000 in population, they're going to be expected to pay 70% of their RCMP costs. You need to understand where these communities are coming from. There's a lot of undercurrent that is there. They know that their curling rink is on its last leg, and they need to somehow find a way to create quality of place and quality of life for their residents. So where do we go from here? I really think that a successful project is meeting more than the technical standards. It's about understanding and communicating in a way that is understood by those who are out there. The northern communities are struggling with understanding this community, or this industry, sorry. I had some mayors come up and visit me. I invited the mayors from northern British Columbia to come to Fort St. John, and we went out, and I recognized very quickly that when I talk about pigging a line, they don't understand that. That could be a new way of fishing. They don't understand what that means and the integrity of the pipeline. So when I talk to them about CAP and about CEPA and about CPAC, that means nothing to them, absolutely nothing to them. I spoke to a fellow in Prince George, and he was upset that Enbridge was not taking responsibility for the marine side of this issue. And I said, I hate to bring up bad memories, but you had a mill that you lost in a fire, and some people passed away, unfortunately. But did you blame the loggers and the truckers for what happened at the mill? And he said, no, of course not. Why would I? And I said, then why are you blaming Enbridge for the marine side? And he got it. So we really have to take our opportunity to move this forward. Fort St. John has got a drive for an energy literacy campaign. It's one of the 13 points in the Senate committee, Energy Committee, and we really need to drive it forward from the ground up. And I just want to leave you with some final thoughts as you move forward and you talk to the communities. I really wish I knew who the author of this was, but this is what was said. It is said that a rising tide floats all boats, and over the next while, it appears that we're going to be looking to the resource and energy sector to bring that tide in. But it's important that the littlest vessels, the communities, aren't swamped in the process. Thank you very much.